Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Ravening War here on Dimension 20. I'll be your humble Dungeon Master, Matthew Mercer. Let's go ahead and say hello to our scrumptious scoundrels. Say hi, scrumptious scoundrels.
Hi, scrumptious scoundrels.
These wonderful players on the table will begin on this side with Anjali Bhamani, Zach Oyama, Abria Iyengar, Bernally Mulligan, and Lou Wilson. Thank you so much for joining us. Better every time. Well, let's go ahead and jump in, as a lot has happened as of late.
Is that
You don't say?
Whose fault is that? Totally normal day. It's an
A few
average Tuesday.
things, yeah, some tangled webs woven, crumbled, burned, and shat on, let's be honest.
and attacked while prone multiple times.
Yes.
Though they were projecting images into your head of kindness and sweetness.
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
You'll be fine.
But to that point, 5 years of violence shall pass, as bloodshed has now engulfed the entirety of Calorum, as the 6 kingdoms clash in all-out open conflict. With the death of Queen Pamela Rox, Candia formally declares war and joins the Dairy Islands against the forces of Ceresia, the Meatlands, and Fructera. Archmage Lazuli of Candia has a vision within this time of a man capable of ending this war, Gustavo Uvano. Around the same period, Count Tomate's attempts to straddle his positions and spread his influence too thin causes the leadership of Fructera to begin to crumble. Lady Amango, since you've returned from that fateful night, and as the gears of history ever push forward, please, what have you been up to?
Well, let's go back to that fateful night, because as soon as we returned to Kamada, my worldview has been completely shaken, and all I want to do is get my child and run from Kamada. So, I am going to head back to the safe house where I have my things, having sent word to Chutney to go and find the child. I just tell her that he exists. I'm desperate, I'm afraid. And I run to the safe house where I find Karna.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm leaving.
No. What do you mean?
I mean, I'm leaving. The world has changed. The world has changed, Karna. There's no way.
How?
How? Do you not know what we have done, what it means for all of Calarum? This is no longer simple skirmishes at a border. This is all-out war on the continent.
It was always war.
Not like this.
So you're just going to leave. Tamate, we had a deal, and I want to interpose myself between her and the door to her safe house.
All right, as Karna slips in and blocks your continuation to the door.
Look, we had a deal. You asked me at Greenhold to get you out, to get you to him. I fulfilled my end of the bargain, and everything I've built, everything I have, is resting on you walking into that room
Karna, listen to me.
and being his queen.
Listen to me. If indeed the houses were the same, the alliances were the same as they were at that moment, we would be having a different discussion. But now, there is no way that Candia is not entering this war after what happened. There is no way they are not launching an assault, and they will have blamed someone. Who else do you think they're going to blame but Fructera?
A lot of things could have happened. I swore to protect you, and I will. I will spread as many rumors as we need. I need you to turn around and go back. I don't want to threaten you.
Go back to what? Marriage to a
It's what you wanted. You wanted to stay queen. And I put my life on the line to give you that shot.
Come with me.
No.
Come with me.
No. I'm not going to spend my life chasing you, hoping that you make enough right choices to keep me safe, happy. What is this? This is a transaction, and you're welching on your end. So if I have to press, I will. And I'm going to put my hand on the door. I'll tell him about your child. If you don't turn around and go back.
It's funny because I was just going to tell you about my child.
I don't have to wait for you to pour out in little sips the information you think I should have.
Well, now that you know, do you not understand why I have to leave? This ruler, this Tomate is not going to be on the... He's weak. If he has more enemies now, do you really think the Fructera is going to rally around him?
It could. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, I don't, and neither do you. But what I do know is that I have a child, and I need to protect him, and him being here is not keeping him safe. Please, Kana, please. Come with me. Come with me.
Why? Where are you going? Where now? Whose feet will you throw yourself at?
My family has a home.
Of course.
My family has a home in Ivano.
And someone will come after your family there too. It's been an entire war, and the fact that you are suddenly so terrified because...
I'm terrified because of what we've done. Do you think...
It was fine when we were going to kill not a noble?
It was
that
fine.
bloodshed was okay. But because you were born special, because
Look, I don't
Pamela
care.
is different.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that we all thought we were special and we're so not. There's nothing right about the royalty. There's nothing that matters about the royalty.
I'm glad you finally fucking caught up.
Wonderful. I take your hand and I kneel before you. Kana, I am begging you with every fiber of my being. Please, let me go to my child. I will never bother you again if you don't want me to. I will support you with everything I have if you want me to. Please. This child has no family but me, and I would hope that perhaps someday he might be able to look up to you. Please let me go. Please. I want to make all of this right, and I can't do it by marrying that man. I thought I could, and I was wrong. I was foolish. I've been foolish this entire time.
Stop. I'm going to lose everything.
You're not going to lose me.
I'm just gonna slowly disentangle my hand from yours and move away from the door. Good luck. And I just turn and walk away.
And I walk to the door. I close the door behind me, and I run as stealthily as I can to where my child is, to the home, to the pomegranate house.
Mm-hmm. It's currently still swaddled, sleeping, the tiniest little wine grape.
I take him with me. I swaddle him in what looks like a little baby Bjorn on the back, and cover as much of get as stealthy as I can, have as many things on me as I can, and head to Ivano.
Okay.
There is a family home there. There's no family there. There is a home.
Very well.
The family's here.
And do you notify them of you taking this abode? Or do you lay low even within your family circle?
I lay low even within my family circle because I don't want to put them in danger.
Self-appointed hermit within a Depeche household in the distant town of Uvano on the northwestern side of Fructera is where you move.
I also use this time as I'm trying to piece together what has happened. There are two things that matter. Three things that matter. One, that my son is safe. Two, that I am never fooled again. And three, that I make things right somehow. Somehow I make things right. And so I spend as much time as I can, since I'm buried away here, studying, reading the tomes in the house, anything I can find, history, anything I can find, learning, scheming, whatever I can find to be just smarter for once than I've been my entire life.
Okay. So you begin to study the world, the cultures of Caloran?
I study the strategies of history.
Okay.
I study deception and intrigue and strategy of rulers in history. All of the things that I thought were evil, now I want to know, because I want to know my enemy,
Very well.
whoever they are.
If you could make an investigation check for me with advantage, because you are in a town center with enough connections with those you might be able to reach out to acquire just what you need to do this.
11 plus, what was it, investigation? 14.
14? That's not bad. Okay. As the progressive time goes, and you carefully, nervously tear apart a number of erasers, your attention deep within the books themselves cause the excitement and anxiety to contrast within your spirit. You continue to prepare yourself for the shadow that still grows across the continent. Karna, after that night, abandoning this relationship, what do you do in the times to come?
I'm ruined. I can't go back to Tamate. And I gave up my secret identity as Jakru. So I have to go somewhere else and start over again. I think I'm gonna make my way to Sarisia and see what I can do there.
Okay.
I need a fresh start.
A fresh start in
Very well.
I do want to keep up correspondence, especially with the Thane and Bishop. I feel very alone, and I hope they're doing better than I am.
It's hard here in Pengranos, especially with the rise of the Imperator. Fakasha is a narcissistic warlord and has rallied through the handful of years of conflict a ferocity, nearly fanatical belief behind him of the senators that fear him. And the general populace of Sarisia seems to really buy into that nationalistic push that he's continued to sell as he pushes the Senate lower and lower into a level of obscurity that places him as a near god king to some. It's a hard place to climb that high, but a good time to get in on the ground floor in the dirty, dirty streets. And even amongst a crushed populace, especially amongst the murmuring shadow of conflict, as much as you share that anxiety with the thousands and thousands of others, the impoverished droves cast out to the streets, you're still alone. For even they still look down on a pepper such as you.
On top of that, we left things off with the FDA and the Sanctus Putris. Weird, but there's something in their belief set that has resonated with Karna. I think she's a true believer. I think she needs to believe that if there is some way to keep the Hungry One at bay, there's a weird hope in that. So I think she wants to keep pursuing it. And if she can find a way to reach out to them and make them know that she's still bought in and invested, she would spend 5 years doing that.
I'd like you to make 2 rolls for me. A perception check and an investigation check.
Right. 19 for perception.
Yes.
Okay.
And 19, dirty 20 for investigation.
Yes.
That's great. Okay. So the perception is actually the attention you were paying at that last meeting with the Sanctus Putris, then at the time the FDA revealing themselves, where you too picked up on an odd scent. A scent that you caught a glimmer in his eye of recognition and worry. While you're in Syresia, trying to build your network, that same smell catches your attention again. You're keen on these details. You've spent your entire life scrounging for any sort of position or platform, and so the details around you are important, and this is a very particular scent. And it leads to a procession before Fakasha, the Imperator himself, is speaking. And it's not him, but the woman that seems to be taking to his side, one of the senators herself, who has fallen in step with the Imperator's rise. This is Senator Ariana Gamili. Your investigation check leads you to be able to find where she most often spends her time, taken care of by the proximity to the Imperator and him ensuring that she is both safeguarded and treated with luxury while he handles the men's stuff. You can seek her out if you'd like to talk with her.
Oh, yes, please, immediately.
I'd like you to roll a stealth check for me.
There we go.
Big money.
Oh, we're using the old ones. 27.
Pressing along the disparate alleys, the sound of soldiers training into the late night, the various armies lifting up and heading out in small sections to be sent towards the borderlands, to be sent across them to where the Imperator feels the next necessary strike must be taken. You come around to this comfortable, pillow-filled chamber. The smell of fresh incense burning. You can see there's large piles of various sweet fruits that have been confiscated during their encounters with Fructera in the past. And as she sits strewn about this gentle bed, having her feet rubbed by what looks to be a maiden to the side, you see her pasta twist hair is undone and just sprawled out across the top of the bed as she just kind of rubs her fingers, some sort of lotion onto it. And all of her
Matt, you gotta relax. Some of us still have dreams of getting slammed down big style.
So we got 2 more episodes after this. Yeah! The clock is ticking. The number of armored bodyguards that have kept the perimeter here have not caught a glimmer of your approach, and you find yourself rapidly looking through this opening in the side of her gentle chambers, unnoticed by anyone.
I would be discreet. I know that the bishop would warn me not to use magic, but fuck it, we're desperate. I'm gonna telepathically reach out. Just say, you seem to be doing well for yourself here.
She's in the process of rubbing the lotion in the stops. Just kind of looks around. Do you make your presence known?
Not yet.
She looks down at her maiden who's rubbing her feet and goes, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a moment to go just alone with my thoughts, please. Maiden, of course, madame. Picks up her stuff, wraps a little towel around and nods and exits, kind of leaving a trail of crumbs from her somewhat crusty dinner roll self that has been shaped within the outfit that she wears as she exits the chamber and the door closes behind and immediately the senator sits up.
Push through the window.
Okay. She doesn't hear you arrive. She's still kind of glancing around the chamber. You see her hand going underneath the pillows.
Oh, no need. I'm not here for a fight.
She glances around and now notices you. And as she does, she pulls her hand back cocks her head curiously as a moment of recognition hits. And why are you here, dear? I have to ask.
Some very big I'm not gonna make eye contact with you. That's a lot. You're a lot. Okay. Well, ma'am, a lot of promises were made down there. And I am not feeling the full weight of the faith and confidence of our friends like I was promised. And I figured you would be willing and able to help me.
There is this power and control that she wields around her, this confidence and charisma that is both simultaneously alluring and frightening. And in the moment where you speak frankly to her, referring to that evening, you watch her try and tangle through the phrase before she finds the kernel of what you're insinuating. And that charisma drops. She sits up.
There you are.
What is it you want then?
Position. A chance to make something of myself in all of this chaos.
You are new to here, you are not? You don't dress like a Sarisian.
No, I'm pretty new in town.
Well, there's already many who work in the same kind of dabblings that you do.
How many of them are in this room with you right now, under the Imperator's nose?
Maybe there is work for you here in Sarisia.
I'm very good.
Well, let's see what we can arrange. How long do you wish to build a rapport here in Pangranas?
I will stay as long as there's like room forward to grow. If there's something at her side, that's good. I just want to get as close to the Sanctus Putris as I can.
All right. It's a slow climb, but nevertheless, within the next year or so, you begin to reestablish a network. She does notably offer you opportunities and introduce you to individuals here that are low-level movers and shakers within the local politics of the surrounding landscape. The Imperator is very much off limits, and every opportunity, time to ask, she shuts it down immediately. And you gather she is very much protective of her own turf, both from a business standpoint and personal. But the more you ask about the Sanctus Putris, the more she begins to grow uncomfortable with your prying, with your curiosities and your questions, until one day she cuts off your inquisition and leans in close. I am not the one that makes the choice. If you really want to, give yourself over to the Bulbian light to cleanse these lands. You need to speak with the Archbishop.
Oh. Okay, how do I? Okay.
I can arrange it.
Thank you. I just take like a big sniff of her while I'm close.
We have a gathering not too far from now. They'll reach out to you. Now go, cute child. There's work to be done.
And I go to change my pants. Well,
You get it, dude.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
I mean, if we
Incredible.
learned anything.
I've been trying to get it for
Yeah.
2 years now.
In the development of your new relationship here in Sarisia and networking with the tumultuous state of affairs here, there is the routing of Fructarian forces in what is to become known as the Battle Vinolia. And during this battle, Count Tomate is slain by Vegetanian arms, and House Uvano emerges as the sovereign house of all of Fructera. And within a moment, as you receive word in Uvano, you breathe a sigh of relief that you hadn't hitched yourself to very much the wrong wagon.
I gotta tell her she was right.
Meta question: what becomes of the hat? Is it still out
Buried
there?
with it? You think he's probably buried?
I'm gonna find the hat, guys. That's what I'm doing with my 5 years.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I got
that's
it.
right. Just a lot of
We'll come to your
investigation.
narrative in a moment, so hold on to that.
Yes,
We'll come
I'll
around to
hold
the
on to
hat. It's important.
Find the hat.
With Tomate's death, Belvedere Cabbage himself is finally crowned the king of Vegetania,
That motherfucker.
and then immediately turns around and declares an alliance with Imperator Farkasha. And together, Vegetania and Ceresia stand to create a terrifying war machine that threatens all of the powers of Calorum. During this time, Rathaniel, what have you been up to?
Ooh, baby. Questions coming from our other two stories.
Yes.
When you vanish, do you well and truly vanish?
No.
Okay.
You know where I am.
In that case, to get us through this 5-year period. So first of all, after the cave, after the assassination, after the cave, I think I'm a husk of a man. I'm like the moisture has drained from my radish head. I have that thing. You know when like vegetables in a refrigerator start to get like a little squishy and they're like, why did you get squishier the drier you got? You know what I mean? Like you should like
Load-bearing juice.
yes, yeah, load bearing. I've lost my load bearing juice.
That was my band name in high school.
So that night, do you come to me? Do you tell me? How does it happen?
I think I leave, but I let you know I left. I get word to you that I left, but I don't tell you exactly where I am and that I tell you. I will let you know as soon as I figure out where I'm going.
I'll go to you immediately after.
Hell yeah. What do you tell me?
I do call you a lot of very unflattering things.
Won't be the first time.
Yeah.
It's just not at court now.
Gotcha.
Kid, she ran. I'm fucked. I hate this. What's wrong with you? Why do you look kind of squishy?
She has a child, you said.
Yes.
Fascinating. She was quite removed during her period of mourning. Perhaps it's something that we missed. Do you have any confirmation on the age of the child?
No. I would say probably still nursing her on the bottle. There was a barf stain on her shoulder the night I found out.
Very well. She has seen fit to remove herself. I can't say that I fault her. She's spent longer than many could have survived under the scorching light of the scrutiny provided by court. Much like a gambler leaving a house of fortune, I think that she's gotten out at just the right time. Good for her. The child is not the heir to Greenhold.
Fair. I don't know what to do. Are you gonna go with... Did she leave without you?
There's no clue within this letter as to where she could have gone. I think she admires me enough to keep on my good side and not leave me in the dark. And I think she admires me enough to not let me know where she is.
We all are beginning to see who we really are. Well, if I stay in the city, I'm probably dead, so I'm gonna go.
Where does it come from?
What?
Oh, you're starting to learn.
Learn from the best. What about you?
How could I know? Even the heart of this world doesn't seem to know. I will turn to Greenhold. There are questions that need answering. I hope, as many times as I am fortunate enough to see you in the future, that we are on the same side of whatever comes next.
Can I roll an insight check?
Yes, you may.
Just want to know if you meant that. Every time. 10.
Rathaniel would love for you to know the truth, but I can't get lower than a 20.
Karna is just gonna hug him.
I would like to make a perception check if I'm hugging you. That is a 16. Do I feel anything as I'm embracing you in your body?
Oh, 100%. Because we're just after that. You would feel literal holes in her body and like weak, soft places where the rot has gone through.
It is a cruel thing, I think, to discover that our gifts are capable of devouring us.
Yeah. You said a mouthful. And I'm gonna kind of like remove myself. It's weird to be afraid to die when that's already happened.
There are many parts of the theology of the Balbian Church that it is possible to accept with their contradictions. But to echo your sentiment about having already died, I think the element of belief that has always come easiest to me is that this world cannot be the one that matters.
Yeah. Good luck, Bishop.
Good luck, Garner.
And from there, where do you go and what do you intend to do, Rathaniel?
The Queen's escaped my grasp. The news of a child is interesting. Karna, with everything happening with Tomate and Cabbage, I think me and Karna have been like blown apart by like the hurricane of fortune. And I just know that we're not useful to each other anymore. It's just, there it all goes. And I go, and the first thing I try to do is get audience with the Archbishop Camille.
Okay. Given the current tumultuous rise to power and the confirmation of the King Cabbage, the bustle in the vicinity is already at a fever pitch, and then the immediate charge around to join with Syresia causes a major wave of tension to even ratchet higher. A nationalistic fervor continues to grow and burn within Vegetania, finally rallied behind a singular king once more, the throne itself recognized and confirmed. And the Archbishop has to have been present for all of this. So you are challenged through this time to be able to acquire any face time. But as the forces march northward and westward, there is an exhale within the upper echelon of Greenhold's keep. And the Archbishop, before she returns back to Bright Garden, does allow you to enter her chambers. And you see the small cauliflower clustered head, the long kind of saggy waddle of her body just kind of dangling past her robe. She's not wearing her full raiment, just the undergarment. It's soft. And as you step in, as old as you may feel at times, she looks frail. And then the closer you approach, she looks fairly healthy for her age. You get the sense as you approach that she is allowing a more relaxed glance at her personage without the presentation that she often keeps. And you've not had a casual as casual as it gets amongst the Bulbian Church's hierarchy as this conversation now. As she turns to you as you enter and the doors close, leaving you both alone.
Bishop Nathaniel, it is an absolute pleasure. I apologize for the delay in our ability to commune, but welcome, and please, within the bulb's light, speak freely.
Your Grace, it is an honor, as always, to see you. Thank you for your audience. I know how busy it has been, the alliance between Ceresia and Vegetania and King Cabbage, uniting the realm, and, well, my closeness with the former queen, Amango, has certainly seen me feel like something of a stranger in this city of long decades of service.
Oh, how the winds change rapidly, and we must be cautious with which direction we choose to go with it.
Which is why I've come, Your Grace, to seek your guidance. And take a seat. I cannot maintain this mask, Your Grace. We were there, under the pyramid together, in the light of the blueberries, underneath the great pyramid of food. You had me go, and I spent years searching for any sign of the fellowship, only to discover that this was a ruse. The Sanctus Putris, all of this. Does it further the cause of the church to see Queen Rox killed? I cannot imagine how to provoke Candia thus. Help me see. We have spoken for years of service about the profligacy of licentiousness and heresy. A wicked, godless Calorum. If there was a plan, why did you not trust me as your servant? Why did you not know that I would do it if you only asked? Please, let me into the light.
She reaches out, her wrinkled fingers grasping the edge of your cheek.
The church exists amongst the necessity of politics, and it is utilized like a tool for the great will of the bulb. But we do not bow to the politics of the land. We are greater than the ambitions of these godless, heathenistic entities that fill these lands. We who have been given the truth long hidden, it is dangerous to expose our intent to the light of others. And so, without enough time to trust, and knowing you and all of your years, your patience, it wasn't right yet to show you this true intent. And you've proven quite useful, Nathaniel, and I am ever thankful. However,
And you watch as her kindly expression just drifts from her face. The eyes kind of widen. Unblinking, she meets your gaze.
there are things that exist beyond the shadows where the light cannot reach. You are not ready. You'll never be ready, Nathaniel.
And she stands, taller than you've ever seen her stand. The crotchety hunch that she carries, a facade. As she stretches her shoulders back and looks down upon you, a full 5.5 feet tall beyond the 3 feet she's carried in all the time that you've known her.
We do what we must to present the mask to the world, to do the true work. Perhaps in time, should you live long enough, I could show you. But you're not ready.
every fiber of my being strains as the trained liar that I am to say, I accept your vision with grace and hope that in time I am ready to see the light and the shadow. And in my heart of hearts, I commit myself with every breath I have until my last to destroy this woman and burn every aspect of her and her companions from the face of Calorum. And I will spend all of the rest of my life warping the church to burn her and her vision of it from this land.
Okay. Right? Like a chill reaction.
You know?
Sure.
As that heated flame burns in your chest, staring into her eyes as she withdraws, and that glare curls back into that soft smile, and she reduces back to her presentory persona. Tearing blades, viscera, blood, shadow, blood, tear. Metallic tools, teeth, tear, black, blood, shadow, darkness. Her face once more. And she smiles. You may leave, Bishop Nathaniel.
Your Grace. That night, I take my years of notes on the Fellowship of Destiny's Architects. What might, after all this time, have just been a joke, a ruse, a farce, a wild goose chase to send me down the wrong path. And it's full, Beata Maria, like fire, just me losing it, and just cackling in like an empty, abandoned cathedral outside of Greenhold, burning my notes, burning everything. I cast heroism on myself to hold my hand in the fire and let it burn, and just go, outside of this world is a steel not made of any food. Meat, fruit, vegetable. In the great blender of the void, can all things be made one?
Oh, that's amazing!
And I pull scrolls on the Ramseyan doctrine. I pull scrolls on the eschatology and study of apocalypse. And the Sanctus Putris has committed themselves to introducing rot to the world to keep the hungry one at bay. And I go deep into a monomania for years of needing to trigger the apocalypse. And in a bizarre way, Raphaniel becomes devout for the first time in his life. Having seen the heart of the world, he is like, it is real. I have too long not dwelt on it. This world is wicked, and the great conflict between Bulb and Hungry One must be brought to pass. And we must be devoured. The smoothie of this world must be blended and made ready to be devoured in one fell gulp. And and as when I level up the next level of Bard, I think about the heart of the world and think of the shame I felt when I told the heart of the world about the teeth I see in these visions, and it didn't know what they were. There's something so wrong with me that even the heart of the world doesn't know what it is. And the spells that I get as I level up are non-detection and speak with dead. And I think that I move magically unseen and begin to find out about the Sanctus Putris, not relying on living networks of informants, just moving through crypts and catacombs throughout Calorum. And I think the last thing is I get the fuck out of Greenhold.
Okay. I would like you to either choose to make an investigation check or a history check based on the spells at your disposal to try and find any information about the Sanctus Putris.
I'll go ahead with investigation.
Okay.
Can I help him from afar?
Oh no. Not good. That's gonna be a 14.
14? That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's what I got. We're still Twinkies.
There you go.
You do begin to find individuals that historically were tied to covert assassinations with no real attachment politically to the reasoning, no sign of being hired by enemies. You begin to see patterns through the past 150 years of Calorum's history, of moments that remind you of what pulled you and your previous allies together for that fateful night. You begin to exhume some of the corpses of these would-be killers and assassins. And you confirm they've been around for quite some time. And the ascension of these individuals seems to be based in those that survive, those that show true, complete belief into the cause of the Sanctus, and acquire enough pure political power without drawing attention directly to be gifted a mask.
Do I ever find a corpse that actually wore the mask?
I'll say no, not with a 14. Actually, that's not true. You do uncover some of the individuals that may have worn masks, not the actual body at all, but of people that worked with them and discovered who they were before they were killed, and had no one to tell.
Yeah.
And the names that you hear don't ring any bells. And you look into it and research them feverishly. A lot of them are servants.
Wow.
Some of them are informers. Some of them are chancellors, guild merchants. They are the people that sit close to the high positions of power and prefer to stay in the shadows and push and pull from the sides across the spectrum.
Chasing them down and doing it in this way, and like the informants I got, like, I think when I first start speaking to the dead, I reach into that vision. I've never understood my own magic. And I think there's a weird thing of like connecting to that world heart, or connecting to that thing of like decay that we found in that place. And I start a catacomb in the new cathedral where I go. I'm such an old member of the church, and there's so many people that I sponsored and like moved up through the ranks that I think for the first time in a long time I start calling in favors. I know I can't stay in Greenhold because I've made political enemies there. I think I start looking for a transfer like elsewhere within the church, and I do, using a combination of like speak with deads, non-detection, detect thoughts, I start to find people that I feel like I can start to create a faction within the church that will, because I need, if I get killed or axed, I need to know. And it's the kind of thing where I will only use people in the church that I've done a detect thoughts into and gotten confirmation that they are not in the Sanctus and not being used by them.
Make a deception check for me. It's going to be a contested roll.
Cool. 22.
Yeah.
Rolled a natural 18 to a 25.
Oh, that's what that feels like.
Yes.
That's what that feels like.
Your subtle movements through the Bulbian church don't go unnoticed by the Archbishop. And you begin to seek an optimal place to shift and build before suddenly you receive a church missive informing you that your skills and abilities are best suited beyond Vegetanian borders, and you are being sent to Kamida to spend the rest of your days as they begin to build a proper Bulbian presence there.
Yeah, I've heard that Saint Arugula is beautiful.
The other unique element of this missive you receive is you are being demoted from bishop to archdeacon.
Ooh.
Are you okay?
Are you gonna be all right?
I think that time when I arrived to Kamida as an archdeacon, I'm demoted, I'm like discovered. I know that Sanctus Putris knows what I'm up to. I think that I get to the city and venture on my own as an old man, not wearing my vestments, and return to the cave on the Glucian Road.
Okay. Oh. It's a long journey on foot, but you make it. You eventually recognize the bridge.
I think I wouldn't do it without protection.
We will return to this beat as we come over here to Colin Provolone. Now,
Come on, Provolone.
A lot has happened on the scale of the continent since this event. Is there anything specific the night that you all return to Kamida that sets you on a particular path of direction, and where do you go from there?
I think immediately after our meeting in the temple, Colin would try to have a conversation with Deli.
Okay.
It already feels sad. I don't know what it's about. I don't feel good about it.
I thought ours was good.
Yeah, and I think you'd find Deli in whatever safe house we're staring in. I think just holding his spear and looking into whatever fire he's made to keep himself warm.
Is this how you saw this going?
We could have had no idea how this was going to go. They are the architects. We are their implements. From here, we'll return to Karn, knowing that they are behind us, that we have their support, and we'll move swiftly, aggressively. There's no need to hold back anymore.
I think that there is value to holding back after what we just did.
I stand up. I'm trying to intimidate you. This is not friendly. I stand up. There can be no holding back, Colin. This is the moment. You heard Raphaniel. You heard the bishop. War is about to come. And the Meadlands will be united. And we will stand, and we will fight, and you will be there with me.
I think Colin's just gonna undo his belt that has his sword and his dagger on it and just drop it on the ground in front of you. Say, you know, I think for a long time, I thought these secrets that they were threatening us with were just about the worst thing that could possibly happen. People knowing about these, knowing about my secret. I know now that this is so much worse. At one point, I promised the chiefess that I would watch her back. And she wanted me to do this because she thought you were good at this and that you would make a great leader. I do think in some ways you're good at whatever this is, but I don't know that I agree that that is the kind of leader that I want to be with.
If you are unsure, then I am not the kind of leader that needs you. I have given you everything, Scald. And if you want to turn your back on whatever this is, that's fine. I don't need you. In fact, I'm better without you.
Colin's just gonna get up to leave. But before he leaves, he's gonna look back to you and say that my grandfather tried to lead the people of the Dairy Islands against some royals who were putting their boot in the neck of the people. And for a while, it seemed like he might actually make a difference. But then everyone turned on him. And in the middle of Lacrimar, he was melted down, screaming in front of everyone. And then no one knew that he had a secret child who was my father. And he raised me in the streets of Lacrimar without anything, and I had to steal and cheat and do everything that my horrible father wanted me to. And then one day he let everyone, all of his drinking buddies, know on accident that he was Fontini's son. And then the same fate happened to him. And so I've been scared this whole time that people would know that that was the truth of me. And I just don't care anymore. You can keep your scald. I hope you find what you're looking for, but I don't think I can be a part of it. Drop my cheese rind dagger on the floor for you.
I think Dilly just kicks the dagger hard. Turns. You should go.
Yeah. And I think the only thing he cares about is figuring out how to get back, how to make a difference with the people who did this to him. So it seems like the smartest person, unfortunately, he knows in this situation is the radish.
The radish.
So you, along with this slowly crumbling psychosis holding radish, you, in the following years to come, kind of fall behind?
I don't think he's not going to go back to the Dairy Islands. He's definitely not going back to Karn. He's going to slowly make my way over to the radish.
I think we have run-ins, but I think that we connect at my lowest point when I get to Comida as Archdeacon, like 2 years into the rest of the world, like 1192 or whatever. And I think, like, I ask you, like,
Colin, I have been thwarted at every turn. There is a rot within the church and within this world that I've been trying to cut out. And every time I raise my hand, it is swatted away. Would you come back with me to the cave?
Just like the two of us, or?
I mean, horses, star fruit, whatever. Do you not?
No, we should go.
I cannot imagine that I would be brought to the threshold of great fortune, only to be haunted and maddened by a bulb that saw fit to give me these gifts. How could I be allowed to see the scroll of destiny and not write on it?
I'll go with you, but I don't. Let's just be clear on some things. I am not worried about your impact on this history.
What are you looking for, Colin?
I've never felt as powerless as we did when we were in the bottom of that pit. I wish to end whatever Sanctus Putris seeks to do.
Then we are of one mind. Yes, we are of one mind. You are gifted with skill at arms. Not trivial in these times of this ravening war. I can shroud you in gold and let your hand be the hand of this church, such that you need not worry to produce steel and mete out what vengeance you see fit.
If that's the path forward for us, then let's do it.
So call in Provolone.
I already hate it.
and yeah, I think I'll head to the cave, but I'll already write a glowing recommendation to induction into holy orders of Church Templar,
which does not need to go through the Archbishop, thankfully, and through your previous connections and allies and others that still, while they may rank equal or slightly above you, you've kept many of thumbs on them through the years and many a secrets that allow a little quid pro quo if needed. And it doesn't take very much to receive response that indeed, Colin Provolone, your knighthood has been accepted and recognized by the great Bulbian Church of all of the Kingdom of Vegetania under the great King Cabbage himself.
Come on, Provolone.
Come on.
Come on, Provolone.
Yes.
As the two of you marching across the Fructeran countryside, midday, a nice breeze blows through from underneath the calm skies, the dappled bits of soft cotton clouds above. You push past the strawberry grasses, the familiar road, and eventually come upon a very familiar bridge. And using that, once you get over the flash of odd memories, seeing this dark space that connotates such a terrible shift in your own lives, It's oddly peaceful and beautiful here in the midday Bulbian light. You swallow that, and then use your ability to track exactly where your footfalls took you in that panic state to escape from being discovered. Within a short time, you find that same crevasse. You go down and find the same bushes where the strange entity was slain. And you recall very vividly the cavern where you stepped through and touched this consciousness. And it's closed, filled, stone and rock, partially grown over in the time since. It's like it was never there or has been long covered.
I'm gonna start tearing at like the rock and the foliage and whatever vines are on the cliff.
Open to me. Open to me. You let me in once.
And I'm gonna cast Shatter, not subtly, against the rock wall.
Stones go flying in all directions. You feel a number of them pelt your body, leaving heavy impact and bruises. You do take 7 points of bludgeoning damage from the proximity of just the stone flying from it.
You've killed him. Man, that's insane.
Wild, okay.
I'm going to cast Detect Thoughts in this moment, just like reaching into the rock and screaming, and I'm like smashing my fists until they're bloody into the rock wall.
Oh, shit.
You feel no thoughts beyond the piercing of stone. You see no drop in the wall of rock that greets you. This tunnel is closed.
I fall to the ground and just weep and go fetal.
I'm gonna just like kick you a little bit.
What?
Really that weak?
I heal myself. Stand up. To hell with all of this. To the pit of the hungry one's stomach. Mysteries and magic, secrets, societies. If they want to play their game, let them play it. Perhaps I've taken too much of the bait for too long. They want to skulk in the shadows, let them skulk. I think it's time to vanish from their concern. They've humiliated me, demoted me, sent me to Commodore as an archdeacon. If they want me to stop hunting them, I'll stop. Foxholes often have more than one entrance. It's time to turn our attention to the war.
Can I make a pit stop while we're here?
Certainly, yes, of course.
I want to see if I can track down anything about the banana who I've had.
Make an investigation check for me if you don't mind.
What a callback.
Sweet boy.
It's a 15.
In about 6 or 7 hours of walking along the road and the river itself, you come upon a small cluster of Fructerina homesteads. You can see these small huts, these simple farmlands that stretch out on this side of the orange and lemon-dappled hills. You can see the soft thatch pulled from the tops of long set and leathered pineapple skins that have been laid in these beautiful kind of arrays to give shade to the interior of these homes. And you watch as a small banana child runs in like a pair of overalls across this field before stopping and looking at you and go,
Hello?
Hi. Is this where you live?
This is where we live, yeah?
I found this outside and just give a little bag of gold. Somewhere. I don't know where it came from, but I think it must be yours if it's on your property, so.
as soon as you kind of see this child kind of look confused, but look at the shininess of the coin, not quite fully understanding at this young age what the worth of it is, but
Take it to your parent.
right as you say that, you glance up and see in the homestead there in the open doorway what looks to be a woman with a grapefruit skin texture to her body, kind of long, deep red hair, and she kind of just glances past over in your direction about 80, 90 feet from you. Come along, Jerry. We do not talk to strangers.
Listen to your mother.
Okay.
And just like dragging it behind.
Walk away from.
Mommy! Mommy! The strange cheese man gave me shinies!
No, he didn't.
Ew, you're nice.
From there, as you both step out into the next stages of your tensions of the conflict that continues to brim beyond these peaceful moments, D'Alessandro, in the dark afterlight of this separation, the night of the return, where is your life gone in the time that comes?
The next day, I think he silently, and I'm assuming maybe the last person to leave, it sounds like by the time I wake up the next day, everyone is some version of gone. Goes to the boat that Colin had arranged for the following day, and takes passage back to Karn. And I think the whole time is by himself and alone and ruminating and playing moments from that night over and over again. The attack on the Queen, the moment with Colin in the cave, and the feeling of the heart of the world. And it's just that over and over and over again for the day's ride to Karn, for however many days it is to Karn. And I think as he steps off the boat, he is filled with the resolve that he is alone, and that is freeing, that no longer does he carry the weight of his family, that he is the one who is the tool of destiny. He is the one who has done the work that needs to be done to unite the Midlands, and it is he who must be taken care of, and there is no one else who needs to be considered. So I think as he arrives back in Karn, I don't go find anyone of my clan. I think I spend the first couple of days there trying to catch a sense of who, like, my mother has not proven to be a seemingly viable candidate to be the leader. Who else is available?
In the times of the ever-shifting conflicts that the Meatlanders continue to fall into, one figure is rising to prominence. A figure that you've known and not met in person in the times that you've grown in these lands, your mother being the individual to make these meetings over in the center of Karn. But Basha Miaso is quickly being pushed and considered the rising warlord of the beef clans to unite them. And in the time that comes, is beginning to take meetings from foreign dignitaries, both on the sides of conflict and possible alliance. Do you interface with Basha?
As soon as possible. I think as soon as I get a sense that he is, and even in that he is doing the things that my mother did not like or avoided, I think I see it, and I'm like, this is it. This is the one. I seek to meet with him as soon as possible.
Your boldness and ambition is infectious and frightening for those who had encountered you in the past and do not recognize the man they see before them. It doesn't take long for the rising warlord, Basha, to eventually have a meeting with you as you step in to see the thick, beefy, ruddy boy himself. This marbled, dark meat skin with long red hair and this kind of handlebarred mustache that comes to these two kind of bone rings that sit at the edges. Looks up at you, his massive bacon steel axe leaned against the side of his seat. Glances into your eyes. So, tell me, Thane, what is it that brings you to the front of where I stand? I hear word that you have been about.
This is true. I have friends all over the continent. And In preparing for the times to come, I have been making arrangements with them. And I've returned now here to the Meatlands. Because I believe it is you who will unite us. And I would be there at your side.
Not your chiefess.
No. My chiefess is not the one. She cannot be the one. She lacks what is necessary. Her temperament, her lack of desire for the politic, it's necessary, it's important. She cannot be the one. And if it is not her, then I cannot give her my allegiance.
Then I will have yours. And perhaps others will fall in line if they see the vision. Someone as strong and traveled as you can see.
Tell me where to go, what to do. We will make it so.
I believe we will. And in the times to come, you begin to move in lockstep with the warlord Basha. For some time, you begin to really feel respect from your peers around you. You do not walk in the shadow of your tangled clan family. Your mother stops talking to you, primarily not recognizing this sudden shift in allegiance. But when you are granted the title of chief of your own clan, she is absolved of hers. She leaves and walks northward and is not seen again. And it's not long before the Princess Safria of Candia travels in secret to these Meatlands, to the metropolis of Karn, seeking to implore the attention of the Speaker of the Hen.
During this time, I would have loved to be sending missives with Karna. And I think in this moment of someone of such great import visiting the city, I think D'Alessandro's having ideas and requests your presence there.
No hesitation.
And I think whenever we arrive and you settle, Karna, thank you so much for coming. It's good to see you.
I just want to say, like, she's gone from 16 to like fully an adult and has been hanging out in Saresia. She has had a hot girl glow up.
Wow.
like long curly red hair. She's learned about lotion and perfume now,
Yes.
and is fully in her hot bitch shit. Like,
And I won't lie, D'Alessandro, same tip. Fully is now into like hides and shirtless, and is honestly battle scarred and has gone full meatland. There's no more kind of splitting the difference. He's still got the bread parts, but he is a meatlander. You look well.
thanks. You too.
Yes. As you know, the Princess Safria is here.
Yeah.
Well, I seek to kill her.
Oh.
I believe it will give Basha the juice he needs to rally the tribes and turn all of our attention to Saresia.
You're not wrong, my chief.
I think there's I'm already pink. I don't think I cannot blush. Like I think there's like the scowl and everything remains, but there's just a bit of red. Indeed. Would you aid me in this?
You never had to ask.
This is too hot. I think for Deli, I think there's just I don't even know what to say. I think it's just.
I'll find out what I can. And I'm going to like pull whatever resources I can to figure out like what her, I know it's supposed to be sort of a secret meeting, but just trying to get wind of where, like what her pattern is going to be here in the Meatlands.
Okay. Make an investigation check for me if you don't mind.
Use my big girl stats now. I rolled so much for a natural 19. 24.
24 is quite good. Now, you haven't spent a terrible long period of time in Syresia, but since you have allied yourself with the senator and have begun to build your network once more, though being definitely still kept at arm's length for your larger ambitions of note, you are able to reach through your whisper network and know that she has largely curved through the Pulp Bay around the Dairy Islands and comes up the Sangre River and is due to arrive within a week. Easily enough for you to track her movements and perhaps intercept before she can even arrive in Karn.
The question then, Chief, how discreet do you want us to be? We can kill her before she reaches Karn at all.
No. The world needs to know.
Good answer.
In doing so, you let her arrive in Karn and actually speak to the Speaker of the Hen, implore for aid and unity. The speaker seems distant, seeks to contemplate on her words, and leaves her for a week, drifting, waiting for a response, intimidated in a land she doesn't understand. The perfect time. And it doesn't take much. With a small tug, the life leaves her body and is discovered not but 4 hours later in a place of your choosing where you knew it would have the most impact. The immediate ripples carry across the city, and Basha immediately rises in fury, goes to the Speaker of the Hen, and justifies a challenge to the Speaker. They battle to the death, and at the end of it, with a crack, the Speaker's neck is broken in two, and the true warlord title is risen up to Basha. With this momentum and his fury, he unites the disparate Meatland clans and immediately calls for vengeful assault upon their previous Ceresian allies, a united front from the north against the ever-shrinking front that Ceresia has been so long building. During this time, Citrina seeks to entreat peace with King Cabbage in Vegetania and is near simultaneously martyred in the streets. This prompts peace talks between King Cabbage and Lord Uvano of Fructera, and for the first time since this began all those years before, Fructera and Vegetania are no longer at war. And not just that, with the loss of Citrina, this pious, lauded figure within the Bulbian Church, and an ally considered within that order, Vegetania withdraws entirely from the conflict, laying their arms down. With the death of so many prominent Candian figures, Candia rises and drives their forces along with the united front against Ceresia through the Battle of Gumdrop Pass, fighting the Ceresian armies until eventually they push into the heart of Ceresia itself. Now, 5 years since the death of Queen Pamela Rox, the combined forces of Candia, Fructera, and the Meatlands, and even the Dairy Islands, have reached the exterior of the capital city of Pangranos in Ceresia to prepare their final assault to end this ravening war. It is here, in the following morning, as the bulb light slowly crests over the horizon, the distant plumes of still-burning smoke of the standing city before you. The soldiers begin to rouse, gathering their arms and armor, sharpening their blades, taking what may very well be for many their last meals, making jokes to break the mood, saying their prayers to the bulb or whatever spirits of the various pagan religions that still exist before the Bulbian Church cast them out. They speak to their patrons, and the various generals gather and move between their tents to inform each other of what is to come. You, Lady Amango, what has transpired since your self-imposed isolation, and what has brought you here to the Battle of Pangranos?
So, as she calms down over the course of time and starts to really understand the situation she was in, she realized a few things. Number one, I cannot hide in this house with a child forever. It's a pretty obvious thing. Since I was too afraid to try to seek out either Karna or the bishop, I went to our longtime family friends, the Uvanos, and threw myself at their feet, saying, I have fled Vegetania. I have no friends. I have no allies. I have nowhere to go. Can you please give me safe passage? Can you please give me a safe place to stay? And the Uvanos graciously take me in, as they are longtime allies of House Dupesh. But they put me to work, and I happily take it, because I no longer want to be not only queen, I no longer want to be a lady. I no longer want anyone to be able to take the power away from me in any way, including my name.
And indeed, Lord Gustavo Uvano, a stalwart, handsome, armored grape of a man, looks upon your face as you make these proclamations and promises and says, do not worry, lady. Understand, all of us put in the work, for there is much to come. And only through strength and union and honesty can we work together to bring a brighter future to a non-fractured Calorum.
I have one more confession to make. And she begins to speak in her native Fructarian. There was a dark time when my husband had fallen, and I didn't know what I was to do. I didn't know if I could be safe. He had fallen ill. I came to a friend, you may remember, Van Binoir.
Of course, we've crossed paths before his passing.
I came to him for solace, and he provided it one night. One night only. And I fled in dark of night back to the castle. The timing was unfortunate, but that one night produced a child.
Oh.
I could not share the news with anyone. I could not tell the Vegetanians, because I did not know what they would do, if they thought it would be the king, if they thought it would be an heir, or if they thought this would be a child out of wedlock, and I did not know what he would look like. Obviously, Van and my late husband are slightly different in build.
You could say that. They are radically different sides of the spectrum, yeah.
So here is the favor I ask, and it is a great one. And there is nothing I will not do for you to help me with this. Would you raise him as a child of the family? He resembles you more than anyone. Raise him as a nephew, a niece, a long-lost cousin, whatever it is. He will be safe with you, but not with me.
He kind of furrows his brow, the kind of penciled dark mustache across his upper lip kind of curved into a brief frown before it rises into a smile, and his eyes meet yours once more. This house is open to a wayward child of such esteemed lineage. And as long as I draw breath, it will be safe and cared for. I promise.
Then my hand is yours. And it does seem that I have acquired a certain amount of skill and knowledge, at least in the last year of hiding.
Good. We will hone it in the weeks to come. Let's see what you can do. And indeed, some of the royal guard captains across the different divisions of the Fructarian army begin to pull you into training along with the other soldiers. And with the months and months that pass, you begin to hone yourself into quite the warrioress.
Let's go.
So I assume you come to the front lines here under the banner of Uvano
I do.
and Fructera. Very well.
And I would like to also say that I believe that because of, I don't believe it, I know it, it's my story, because of the guilt that she has felt, the long-lasting guilt that she has felt over that night on the bridge, when the Candians were potentially coming to build an alliance with the Fructerans, I urged Gustavo, I helped to broker that deal and make sure that the two allied so that I knew that our houses would be as one.
Fair enough. Easily done. And there is immediately a strong bond through mutual loss and ideals of unity across the lands between the remaining members of House Rox and House Uvano. And within a short time, indeed, that alliance is made quite strong. You yourself being one of the handful of important figures in that. And here you now come alongside the armies of House Uvano and Fructera to the outside of the city. Karna, what have you been up to since your dalliances across these lands, your blades left deep in the shadow and blood let sinking into the alleys? What has happened and brought you back to this city of Pangranos, if not been here ever since?
Yeah. As long as you never saw fit to turn me away.
I would not.
To Karna, D'Alessandro is the first thing she has ever desired beyond her own survival. So she stands by his side and will reach the front lines with him after years of fighting beside him. Yeah, she's a fully ripened Carolina Reaper now, so she's like bright red, again with like the curly hair. And she has a like whited out eye with a long scar through it. During one particularly nasty battle, he took some very heavy wounds, and in her fear for his life, she slashed her own eye with her blade to sacrifice it to the hungry one. He must feed, and if it was enough of a sacrifice to keep him alive, she doesn't know if it worked or not, but she was willing to do anything to keep him.
It seemed to work because he still remains D'Alessandro. In the time that has transpired, what have you accomplished, and then what brings you here to the gates outside of Pangranos?
I think D'Alessandro has requested to be in the vanguard of whatever force marched from the Meatlands on Pangranos. And so I think whatever tribe I've assembled of likely unfamiliar faces, this is excitedly the biggest fight in a series of battles that has just been ongoing. It has been, I think Delhi has only known war for many months, if not years, at this point.
And indeed, Warlord Basha Miyaso grants you both guidance over one of the many generals that are handling the actual in-field combat, and often calls you to his side to discuss many very important tactical discussions and alliances that are to meet here in the battlefield. Stay close before we leave by the end of this morning light. There are conversations, perhaps uncomfortable but necessary ones.
Of course, Basha.
Stay close. Nathaniel, Colin Provolone. Sorry, Sir.
Ooh.
Colin Provolone.
Some respect on that name.
Come on, Provolone.
Where have your journeys taken you in the years since, and what brings you to the gates outside of Pangranos?
I think Colin, under the tutelage of Nathaniel, has sort of risen in the ranks of this, Bulbian order of knights. It just means nothing to him, the bulb, really. It's just a means to an end. He has risen through those ranks and will really just follow Nathaniel wherever he deems fit.
I think Nathaniel follows Colin. I think what happens.
He's been doing this for years.
Well, I think that he realizes his obsession with the Sanctus Putris and this newfound kind of religious devotion to eschatology, to like the end of the world, and to like not only destroying the Sanctus Putris as an institution, but also destroying their theology, like wiping their ideas off the world. He spent his whole life being patient, and then when he learned the truth, he tried to speedrun it. And I think in the depths of his humiliation, he goes, maybe it doesn't happen in your lifetime, and you have to be okay with that. And I think he stays up all night, every night, writing theological doctrines and treatises about the Prophidian heresy and why the idea of the Sanctus Putris is wrong. Just like making his essays that he would nail to the door of the church, but is just keeping them secret for right now, and being like, patience. And I think appears to learn his lesson and completely refocus on mundane power that would look to the outside world just like, oh, look at power-hungry fucking archdeacon. Like, you know, just like the most banal. And I think that in all of the bloodshed, like following Uvano's ascension, everything like that, I think it's like your order of knights coming to the rescue in important battles, like freeing prisoners and kind of beginning to ring the bell of like what comes after, of like the people have suffered so long under this war and the imperator wishes to conquer all. And aren't all of our nations united under the bulb? Aren't they united under the bulb? And like, I think following Colin's success, he just becomes like a statecraft clergy member of like, backing Uvano, backing the Lady Amango, who I think when you re-enter society, he connects with you again and is like, yes, like we should absolutely ally with Candia. We should absolutely ally with the Dairy Isles. And I think privately is like, we found a way into, like Gustavo Uvano's a devout man. And the person who was most anti-church within Castle Candy was murdered by us on a bridge years ago.
I bet Colin would have a conversation with Rafael that was more like, you know, I think ambition, you're obviously ambitious, but I think there's such a thing as being too ambitious. And there's a lot of power in being able to wait.
Yes. I have waited so long. Colin. The problem with waiting is not the act itself. It's that if you are waiting for the wrong thing, it just might never come.
Well, let's just hope we're right.
And I think the last thing I'll do before heading to Pengranos and kind of hitching my wagon to like this very capable knight and this very capable like house, and not church forward, but being like, the church is here to help Uvano and help the Alliance and the good guys. And isn't the church kind of just like a helpful little old pal? Is send a letter to Delhi after the ascension of Basha.
These lands are fractured. Fire, ruin, war. It will take something great to heal what is broken here. Nature taking its course, there will be grudges, hatreds. The land is soaked with blood in every one of the 6 kingdoms. The only bet I would make on unity and peace after this is something that unifies us all. I would not hold much hope for your warlord, Basha Myaso, if he cannot sing the same song as the rest of Calarum.
I think I share the letter with Karna. I do not believe him wrong, but I believe there will be a proper time and place to push this on Basha. I think it has been enough to unite the Meatlands. I think introducing a new religion is too much.
You know best what to do here. But I think there's an opportunity. If Basham isn't enough, you could be. Be bold.
Those words ring in my head.
I think before we move on from here as well, I think we have to have this meeting.
I want to propose something.
Yes, tell me.
Your dalliances with House Uvano and coming under their wing has removed you of, intentionally, by your own right, the political influence that you've had. And you have now joined as a trusted soldier with more, access than anybody else within the Uvano armies. You do not see sight or really maintain any communication for some time as you follow this path out of fear of being noticed. And then as 2 years have passed without contacting Raphaniel, you kind of lose the thread and interest. And it isn't until you are traveling northward with the regiments along the road that you catch sight of Sir Colin Provolone, and not far from him, Raphaniel.
And when I see them, immediately my stomach drops, my heart starts racing. The first thing I'm taken back to is that night. And as we're heading north, I'm kind of clocking, where are we? All the fears from that night come back. And then at a glance, I see Raphaniel looking somehow smaller than he was, maybe a little bit frailer than he was. And I think of the day that we left Greenhold for the last time to go to the Egamir Festival. And when I saw him and ran into his arms after the death of my husband, and how he embraced me. And I immediately, everything else falls aside, and I ride slowly up beside Provolone. Well met, friend.
It's good to see you.
And you?
What do we call you these days?
Amango is fine.
Well, it's good to see you, Amango.
And you, from what I hear, what I see, seem to have moved up in your station.
Yeah. It sucks.
There he is.
Don't tell them that.
I understand. They say heavy is the head that wears the crown, but in your case, the helmet.
I think that works.
Yeah. How fares my old friend?
Well, he's getting stranger. I don't know if I'm the best one to talk him out of whatever is happening with him. He has changed for sure. I think he took being bested harder than most.
Can I make an insight check?
You don't have to roll an insight check.
Okay.
You've known him long enough. He's not beyond reproach. He's just been in his mind for the length of a long, tiring journey, especially for a man of his not youthful physicality.
Is he astride a starfruit
riding
or
something?
something?
Yeah, it would be actually a very poor choice of a ride, but kind of for your own personal appendix makes sense, like a small durian fruit.
Ooh.
So
I think there's a small cut. Smells
yeah,
insane.
So he's slightly lower than I imagine I am on my starfruit. So I dismount and I hand the reins to you and say, would you? And I walk quickly, but not so much that I would shock him. Your Eminence.
Oh, Lady Amango.
And I'm gonna get off my nasty durian.
Pungent part. Yes, my steed is as fragrant as they come. My lady, you look resplendent.
She knows full well she does not. And I know full well I do not. You see that she has her hair that used to be full and curled and luscious is pulled back in tight braids, low ponytail, very practical. She's wearing studded leather armor over a tunic and very practical pants, but you also see that she looks more herself and that there's no fear in her eyes for the first time you've ever seen her.
Rafael looks like shit. He looks like shit.
I lean over to you and say, it's not the durian.
Only I had taken prestidigitation as one of my cantrips. If only.
He has new vestments in Fructera, which is a little bit more ostentatious. And so he just looks like he's being crushed by his own vestments. They're like heavy and he's become frailer. And I'm just gonna go,
Yes, well, as you know, war does take a terrible toll on us all. And the road is long to Pangrenus, but we walk, as always, in the light of the bulb.
Now I do want to do an insight check because he just looked so straight and weirdly into my eyes.
Okay.
I want to see, does it seem like he has any kind of ulterior motives here to do anything other than fight for the Fructerans?
Make an insight check. You can make persuasion or deception, your call.
Oh, sorry, persuasion or...
No, he's making persuasion or deception based on the...
No, nothing.
26.
No. Yeah, no, that's a no. That's I see nothing.
It's not that old.
I mean,
I see nothing.
riding in the direction,
Yeah.
similarly affected by some of the previous tragedies and challenges, you have no reason to think otherwise.
I'll look at you looking at me, and I'll smile and go,
The night that you ran was very kind of you to let me know and to understand that I would have worried if you had simply vanished.
I'm so sorry I left you behind. I'm so sorry. I could have taken care of you. I could have done something.
But you didn't.
I had other responsibilities.
Ah, yes. Congratulations, though belated.
And I immediately know that Karna told him. There's no question. Duh. Thank you. And I'm sorry again.
When you left, you gave no way to reach you, to contact you, to find you. And I have long wondered, these many years, was that for my protection or yours?
Both. Not knowing how you would judge me or treat me after knowing, and not knowing if it was safe for you to know anything more than you already did. The child has been my greatest joy and my greatest weakness. But you are here fighting alongside us.
Oh, I don't imagine I'll be doing all that much fighting. I am a man of the cloth, after all. I am here to minister to the spiritual needs of those brave soldiers who fight for an end to war.
How am I gonna do that? Yeah. I just lean in and look him straight in the eyes. And I say in his head, we both know you are much more than that.
I'll say back in your head,
I don't know how long that will be true.
Then we must make the most of it.
and hold your hand with papery little old radish hand.
And I'll just walk with him.
Colin's just watching them silently.
Being like, how long do I have to hold this fucking stuff?
Just loaded.
The last thing I'll say in your head as we go is,
You carried the child during your period of mourning. When was the child born?
8.5 months after the death of my husband.
you think the child to be his?
And she doesn't say anything.
Still some secrets.
A woman must have her allure. I'm not completely left the court.
I hope there are those in this world who know what a gift it is to have anyone that knows the whole of their heart.
And as you continue to make the trek northward, along with the rest of the regiment that you've been assigned alongside, the memories of those gatherings bring us back to this fateful morning. The red-orange bulb rise, giving the shadow of the skyline of Pangranos, that still inhale and held breath of the fight to come, the sound of rousing soldiers. As you, Chief D'Alessandro Katzen, hear a heavy pounding on the side of your tent flap as an arm pushes it aside, and there you see Warlord Basha Miyaso step in.
Chief, it is time. I need you to be at my side as I treat with the other generals.
We'll go now. Would you allow me to bring my skull to Karna?
He looks down for a second, then back at you.
I trust your judgment.
She will come. I will summon her.
As Basha leaves, you begin to assemble your arms and armaments for the day to come. Please, how have the years treated you?
War torn. I think
That's sexy kind.
Delhi now stands taller, bulkier, but has many scars and wounds from battle. They look like bites out of his personage. He has lost his right eye as well, and wears a mustard eye patch that covers where his eye once was. And he has abandoned his shield. He now fights only with his spear, which will have a name. I just can't decide what it is. So for now, we'll just call it his spear.
That works well.
Great.
You gather your things and you step out of your tent, the red-orange light of the sky above, and that smell of crackling fire, early morning meats, and the familiar scent of distant death on the wind. That feeling of iron that will taste your lips and tongue in the days to come. You look over as the warlord rushes by and gives you a look to follow. You stride through, seeing the soldiers stepping up, beginning to stretch. Some of them cough, some of them just kind of stare into the crackling flames of the morning fires, the cold, trying to fight it and come to terms with their own looming mortality. Eventually, you come to the back of these splayed out, organized army settlements to a massive war tent that is surrounded by guards. You step up as Basha kind of gives a hand signal up and looks back to you.
Stay at the side. You may listen in, it is important for you to be, but this may be a tense conversation. Perhaps it is best that a familiar face to these scattered interests speak with me directly. My eyes are yours.
Of course.
And he steps into the tent. The flap closes. You stand outside there, shield at the ready, just kind of taking in and surveying the coming fight to be. Sir Colin Provolone, how do you prepare for this battle as you awaken?
Provolone has changed over the years in that he's, heading this sort of knight order, but he still kind of has these like roguish roots. So he's not wearing full armor in the way that probably the rest of the knights are. He was wearing a breastplate. He's a little scarred from he hasn't lost an eye. A
couple of us are out here really scrapping, all right?
I was scrapping. I just
whatever, Sir Provolone.
Sure.
I just make sure people miss. Get out of the way.
It's just important to have.
Seems kind of like you're a babysitter to Rafael, but all right.
That's fine.
You're not here.
I've lost my eyes.
Both of them.
Both of them.
He is looking as nice as Colin Provolone can look. He is combed his greasy hair. He's sitting upright, trying to not, slouch like he is wont to do and kind of constantly correcting that. But yeah.
Okay. So you begin to place all your armor and equipment on. You begin to hear some voices kind of shouting out low-level, orders for people to begin to rise, get yourselves ready, get yourselves fed. Can't be too long. You begin to step out of your small tent and kind of look for not just the rest of the regiment, but also Rathaniel, who's kind of partially still a mild companion on this journey, but also an individual you have to keep an eye on as he's getting up in his years. You head over to the tent, not too far from where you are, where Rathaniel has made his space. Rathaniel, how do you prepare for the day to come?
I've been awake all night. Completely still. Just making freaky little noises.
One tent over. Hearing little noises.
At some point in the night, I came into Colin's tent and just looked at him and I went,
Do you need something?
No.
Go away.
I like that you have to shoot him. Go on, get.
Skitters
A
away.
snack or something. You're okay. You throw up?
A little, yeah.
Jesus. I think he's been, for a while now, been having a really hard time going to sleep. Just every time he closes his eyes, he just sees teeth and tearing.
In that whining scream and grinding sound,
It's coming.
you almost begin to hear a name, something. It feels like sound, mouth sound. Grinding again.
I will focus and double my attention and stay all night trying to close my eyes but not falling asleep to see the thought that the thing that has been haunting me my entire life might, after all these years, have something to tell me. I just hone in deeper and deeper, focusing as hard as I can.
Okay. And in that moment of focus here in the morning, not realizing that the bulb has risen and you're not sitting here in the quiet calm of your solitary night, the flap opens as Sir Colin arrives to check on you.
Oh.
What have you done?
What?
What?
It's about time. So you want to stay here, right? Or we gotta go. You probably should. You're good to hear?
Teeth and blood and grinding. Secrets at the dawn of time. Or the ending.
Hey.
Colin.
We need you to lock it in a little bit. Yeah. I need you. It's just the worst. It's just the worst time possible. It's the worst time for that. Okay. I can get you some water. I can do a little.
Sweet.
Please, not with the shaky hand towards the face.
Sweet. Colin. Hey. Come on, drop it down.
Hey, come on, Rathaniel. Right?
Yes.
Come on.
Some celery water, I think.
Okay.
And the bulb. The bulb has risen. There's time. Do you think somewhere, sometime, someone might have ever made a little smoothie with cheese and radish in it?
Yeah. I think that someone maybe was just trying to figure out to try something new, and that happened. And that there was a cheese and radish smoothie, and it was good.
Yeah. Just full crying.
Hey, we have work to do.
Yes.
We're not done yet.
Still time.
There is.
Sweet boy.
Okay. And I'll walk out of the tent with Colin.
Amango,
Fine.
you felt the energy already awaken you within the darkness of your tent just as the bulbrais begin to crest. You begin to place your armor on, prepared for the day, and you already hear the voice of Lord Gustavo Uvano beyond your tent beginning to speak to some of the nearby soldiers. As you step out, you see him adorned with kind of a light leather armor, a small cap on top of that, his round, strong, smiling, purple grape face with his mustache, once thin, now kind of grown bushy around the edges into a small beard. He's there with a longbow that is strung, this beautiful looking carved longbow, and to his side, a heavy quiver filled with arrows. As he looks about and goes, "Countrymen, today, much will be asked of each and every one of you, but you do not fight alone. For the first time in a very long time, many of these kingdoms come together for a common cause, and should we be willing to make these sacrifices, we will be six as one. I will come and speak more to you. Come, have your meals, prepare, and know that I fight alongside you." A few of them kind of lift their weapons and stuff, and he turns and nods and sees you and goes, "Amango, how do you fare in preparation?"
Ready as ever. Ready to serve. Ready to fight. Ready.
Good. I might discuss some tactics that have been passing around with some of my other generals. May have proper use for you. Come with me, I have to have a quick meeting. Not looking forward to it. Well, parts of it at least. And you escort him over, heading towards the war tent at the back of the armies. Karna, you receive word, and you rush to go to the war tent, but you did send a missive out guiding you to meet up with D'Alessandro towards that side of the armies. And as you gather your things and head in that direction, is there any specifics of your presentation that has changed as you prepare for war?
I think her outfit is a mixture of all the places she's been. She is fructarian, so the cut is fructarian, but it's embroidered with that gold, like wheat from Ceresia. There's like elements of Vegetania throughout, because that's where she spent most of her time. And then it's lined with that heavy, sort of imposing, like meat-lined lining that would mark her as part of the Meatland tribes.
You gather your materials and you begin to weave quickly, as you do so well, through the various open elements of field and road, and eventually approach the exterior of the massive war tent, seeing there, armored and at the ready, D'Alessandro Katzan, the chief of his beef clan.
Chief.
Scald.
Damn. She kind of preens a little bit.
How fares your morning?
I'm ready. Are you?
Of course. Waited long for this day.
It's going to be momentous.
You hear some footfalls begin to approach, and as you kind of glance over, you can see a tall, looming man of deep orange-yellow skin tone, cleanly cut hair of a soldier, and a finely crafted suit of cheese steel ring mail, a heavy blue and white cloak pushed over one shoulder, weapons at the ready, gauntlets on. You recognize this figure as Prince Tarthur Cheddar, who approaches the exterior of the tent and kind of glances over. Well, good morning.
Morning.
Who's arrived at the meeting so far? Yeah?
Currently present is Warlord Bash Miyaso.
Why is he always the early one? Pushes the tent entrance aside and enters past the two of you.
The moment he arrived, I think I am in your mind, just giving you the download, everything I know about him. Like, I'm in your ear without having to speak aloud. Like, I give you any information I have.
So the Devil Wears Prada.
100%. I was going to say it, and then I was like,
So Anne Hathaway to his Meryl Streep.
yes.
Lady Amango, as you accompany Lord Gustavo Ivano and as well as one of his side guards onto this war tent, what about your presentation, your warrior getup, has changed from what we have seen?
She's definitely pared everything down. Like there's nothing extra, including her actual body. She's wiry now. She's a little bit slimmer. Like the curves have kind of hardened. So that's just over time. And then she's in her full studded armor with a cloak. She's got a crossbow on her back. She's got her rapier at her side, hair tightly pulled back and braided, and just very, she looks very suspiciously around. Like, even though we are among allies, she's always on the lookout for anything that might be awry because she's seen too much shit. So what you notice about her is that she's noticing everything.
Fair enough.
We're in Ceresia, so there should be a rye somewhere nearby.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me? What do you want me to give? What? What am I supposed to give him? You're his best friend now, all right? All right, fine. Shit, I'm gonna Venmo you.
Sir Colin Provolone and Rafanio, as you step out of your tent, you immediately see Lord Gustavo Uvano stepping by with an armored and ready Amango at his side, and you catch a glance at the two of them immediately stepping out to meet your gaze.
I have to go. Be safe. Keep an eye on him.
Telepathically,
Is everything all right? Do you need help?
Knowing you're here is help enough.
Do you know yet what the Lord Uvano will ask of you?
I assume what I've offered. Strategies, his hand.
I shall remain close by. If there is anything that is asked of you that is dangerous, we will come and help.
There's a lot being said with looks right now.
And I'll say out loud, ever the protective one. And continue on with Gustavo.
Very well.
And just nod to Colin.
Sir Provolone, let us promenade throughout the encampment.
Yes, let's go for a walk.
blessings! And but I'll stay within like telepathic range of Amango.
Understood. As you kind of follow behind, and Uvano, who is like giving this warm smile and waving and acknowledging some of the Fructarian forces nearby, kind of glances back at you with a very serious look and goes, "Are you ready?
As ready as ever.
When we arrive, I need you to stay outside of the tent while we discuss the plans for the day. Listen and see if anything is of interest or worry in the horizon. Let me know immediately if you see something out of sorts. That would be important to, well, anything from Pangranas." All right. As he approaches, he glances over and sees the rest of the currently standing guard, which includes the two of you, and kind of, "Good morning."
Lord Uvano, good morning.
It is a pleasure. You are Chief D'Alessandro of Casson, right?
Yes.
I have heard of your heroic deeds and your significance at the side of the warlord, Miaso.
I appreciate your kind words. And who is?
Lady Amango,
Yes.
APC. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Can I make an insight check on
Yes,
Lady
you may.
Amango? Okay.
I'd love to get.
What are you looking
What do you
for?
want to know?
I'm trying. I guess that there is when Deli sees her, he's surprised by her visage, but the choice to act like we have not met before strikes me as strange. So I'm trying to figure out if she is slighting me or talking down to me in any sort of way.
Okay, persuasion or deception, and then you will see what the numbers say.
17.
My lady, and I'm going to cast Silvery Barbs on you.
Right.
And give you advantage on your next roll.
Next roll, not this one, but the
So
next
silvery barbs just means I have to re-roll.
Yep.
That's it. Natural 20. So now
Oh
it's a
no, you
30.
take the lower roll.
Oh, 7. But it was a natural 20.
one. What is your?
13.
Okay, hard to read. Hard to read. She is far more battle-hardened than you expected, and there's kind of a, as much as you're taken aback by it, you also can't help but respect this change in her. Uvano kind of nods. I guess it's time to see how we tackle this beast, huh? You know what that is like?
Yes.
There are beasts where you're from. Anyway, and he heads on inside the tent, pushes past. At this point, you also hear a smattering of footfalls coming from the opposite side. You immediately see a towering woman of dark chocolate skin, white hair, and kind of a polished bronze-colored Candian armor. A long, thin blade with a basket hilt that is sheathed to one side. She steps forward, flanked to her right by a massive, broad-shouldered, 7-foot young Candian warrior of pink pop rock skin, bearing a smoothly bald head and a thin green chin-strap beard.
I immediately throw over Deli. I'm like, who's this guy?
I don't fucking know, but we killed his sister. And his mom.
The woman approaches, having this kind of presence of strength that it overwhelms, the confidence and charisma in the silence and approach. Looks upon you all. And I suppose that this is where we're all supposed to be meeting.
You've found the right place, General Rococo.
It is a pleasure to meet you, D'Alessandro Cazzon, chief of your beef clan.
Well met as well. I've heard much of your exploits.
I've heard some of yours as well. Well, are we ready for this? She glances over to her brother to the side. You see, he's youthful, but what exuberance might be there in this princely man of this early adulthood is gone, instead replaced with a hard determination and a grit that belies a simmering thirst for vengeance that you have seen in many a people in your land. He looks to her and goes, I've never been more ready. Let's take as many of these Ceresians down as we can. And she kind of looks to him. Does he have to come? And you see behind there is this squat 2.5-foot tall chunk of crumbled cheese with this long mustache behind. He's like, sorry I'm late. I slept in a bit. Wasn't gonna miss this. And you see what you recognize as Prince Amithar go, I mean, he's my buddy. And we've been through a lot getting here. And I told him he'd be present. She's like, he absolutely cannot come inside of the tent. I can get you in there, but he can't. He's like, all right, sorry about that. Had to have my morning bourbon. All right, so, we doing this? She turns and goes, you're not coming, Jack. Well, drink for me. And reaches behind at the small jug he has on his side, and Prince Amithar goes, hey, I'm sorry, buddy, I really tried. Just, I guess, hang tight if you don't mind. It's like, sure, you do the talking better than me anyway. They both walk into the tent, and the flap closes behind. He says, who the fuck are you?
My name is Warlord Cazzon. Who the fuck are you?
Oh, Mantaray Jack of the Derry Isles. Sailed the great milk seas for a long time. I've slain many a soldiers across the border. I'm a little drunk, and I got to take a shit. I'll
hold your flask.
If you don't mind. Hey, be right back. Oh, and he kind of walks off a bit, kind of clutching his backside and kind of saunters in the distance. Both of you kind of watching this this kind of odd reunion here in this space.
I think this is our first time seeing Deli and Karna in a long, long time.
I immediately telepathically say to her, I thought it best for all of us for you not to have known me before.
Rude, but understandable. Motherhood seems like it was rougher than expected. How are you?
I think your life has treated you quite well. And I see it has brought you a companion. I'm just gonna come closer to him and say the same thing that I said to her in her head. I thought it best that you not have known me before. In my previous station, I was not as useful to you as I am now.
It is fine.
It is good to see you, both of you, and to see you well and together. Little Yenta moment.
We are not. She is my skald, and I am her chief. And,
oh no, I'm just seeing you together at the same time.
Yes, well, it's good to see you as well. And the armor is fitting.
I've heard much of your exploits.
We haven't been quiet.
Nathaniel, Colin, what are your passive perceptions?
17.
15.
15. Okay. It passes you by, but as you're watching this, towards the back, this war tent, which has just a faint bit of army, gathered behind the back of it to make sure that they aren't on the front lines for a possible assault. You can't help but see one of the small hills just beyond that, a shadow of movement. At first glance, you're like, assassin, deserter? And you briefly see this kind of withered, spindly form, this weird flash of bone across a face before it descends behind the hill.
Drink your celery water.
Are you okay?
And I book it. I also now, I know this is wild, as feeble as I am, I now have cunning action, which I didn't have before. So I fucking haul ass. I've been sort of hobbling around, and I just fucking.
Colin sees this, he's like,
shit.
Go.
yeah, are we with
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, you're not with them. You're both are just kind of off to the side of this. You're kind of watching.
Yeah.
But
As I'm leaving that out among go, you hear my voice in your head saying, "The creature, the creature from the cave."
And I immediately just look around to see, what do I see? I see him booking.
yeah, you glance over and you just see this tiny withered old man just full on flash sprinting outside of the rest of the army's gathered space.
Do I see Colin anywhere?
You're not keeping hidden, and you probably
You're chasing after him. Okay. I look back at the tent and I look at him and I am paralyzed. I have no idea what to do. Genuinely.
This is our chance. This is our chance.
What's wrong?
Stop.
What's happened?
I say in his head, stop now. Stop.
I will immediately switch to Karna, and when I say, "The creature, the cave, the creature from the cave."
Chief,
What?
Charlock's here and he sees the thing again.
What?
May I go?
Where? I'm coming with you.
Okay. And I just turn and where?
From my voice, I just yell, "Follow me!"
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think
And I also cutting
can't
action
leave
down.
my-
I'm
can't leave
running
my-
left, right, being looking for the turnip head.
Well, even if you don't see him, you do see kind of the roadrunner cloud that follows
Yeah.
behind in the shape of a withered
It's like a little
turnip.
durian fart.
Do I
It
see
just falls
any
down.
of my seconds around? Do I see anybody that I can put in my place?
Yeah,
to watch the tent?
you aren't the only guardians here. This war tent has a number of soldiers, and with each
Okay,
of these
that's all.
arrivals of the various generals of the armies, other seconds and guardians have approached and kind of are stationed. You are amongst many, so it doesn't lie unguarded necessarily.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to take cunning action as well, and I'm going to book it after.
Okay, you
We all
all.
took levels in Rogue.
I mean, that's all I was.
There's no universe in which we didn't take
I
the
guess I'm a
same
little
thing.
behind. I took mobile, so I have 10 more feet.
All right, there you go.
That's cool, I have mobile and cutting action.
Are you you're on a starfruit. You're probably faster than all of us.
So, Provolone, you catch up quickly to Rathaniel, but as you're saying all this, you look above, and this creature, you can see the hill that you saw it duck behind. It isn't a natural hill. Much of the kind of the grain and oats and chunks of bagel and various bits of macaroni are pushed up like it's fresh earth, and you see it kind of pushing more on top, and it kind of sees you and then just vanishes behind.
Rathaniel's not in this world anymore. I see the grain, but I'm not seeing the grain. The only time in my entire life I've ever felt loved or welcome was in that cave, in that heart of the world, where I felt like there was a chance for something to understand me. And I reached out and I shared the thing I was most afraid of, and it didn't recognize it. And all I'm doing is going, it's learned since then. That's why it didn't let me back in when I went back. It took time, but now it's ready. It came back to find me, and it's just I am unraveling as I sprint after the creature.
You finally see what he's going after, as it vanishes behind, and you catch up to the side of him just as he begins to beeline it to where it vanishes, and he's continuing to go.
Just slow down for a second. What are we trying to do here?
The cave has come back.
And I just will take Colin's hand and lead him.
So, the creature with the mask, the one that Alessandro slew up to the bridge, it's returned. It's come back. It's come back. The cave has come back. It hid itself from us when we returned.
I don't think it. Can I,
rest of you.
Nathaniel! Nathaniel!
when he says it hit
Subtle,
itself from us,
subtle.
just remembering what happened in the pyramid where Dishless was talking to someone. Can I roll like an insight check to think if like, did the church cover this up or did it hide itself from us?
Make an intelligence check. This is to recall the information.
That's gonna be 12.
12 isn't too bad. The collapse looked natural. There wasn't like a detonation or any like scarring on the rocks of any fiery explosion. So it looks like it collapsed naturally or was filled in naturally.
Okay.
That's the best that you can ascertain. But as you kind of step up and approach, you can see this kind of bulge in the hill. It's not a hill, it's a ring. There is a freshly dug opening, kind of bursting out of the middle of the Ceresian ground, about 3.5, 4 feet wide, that you can see descends at about a 45-degree angle beneath the Ceresian earth.
What is our goal though?
To find the cave.
And I'm gonna start crawling into the earth.
Stop.
Make him
Can I-
stop.
I'm gonna go grab him and just hold him in place.
All right, make an athletics check and an athletics check.
If I can't hold this motherfucker in place, then I should.
He's such a little wireless.
What the fuck? Why are you rolling badly today?
16.
Oh my god, you totally slip out of my grasp.
Driven, he pulls from your grasp.
I think you grab the hem of my robe and I just shoot through the neck hole of my. I'm so tiny that I just.
We just see fresh ass. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't think you've ever seen legs connect to lower back and have a butthole in the middle and be like, there is no butt. It is legs to back with a butthole in the middle and no ass.
I hate that I'm about to follow this.
I don't like this image.
Little puckered radish butthole being like, follow me.
He said that out of his ass.
All right, I guess we're going.
Can I make a perception check on the hole that that Nathaniel just crawled
Make a
into?
perception check to kind of ascertain
Not
any
doable.
details of the surroundings and the hole itself.
Check his hole.
That's just at 16.
Yeah, looking around it, it looks like it's been freshly opened. Like probably within the last half an hour or so, probably even sooner. This creature just emerged from this space.
We haven't seen the creature. We just watched Nathaniel crawl into it.
He was yelling that he saw it,
He
so I
saw
passed
it.
that on to you.
Okay. So do we think it's in there?
Yeah. Are we wasting time on this? There's a whole war we're about to finish.
Yes.
I have to agree.
When I touched that thing, it was something else. If there's a chance, it's maybe not a complete waste of time.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make just a perception check for anything dangerous nearby, any traps, anything.
Make a perception check.
Please roll well. Come
And
on,
Colin, you
little.
already went in.
Come on, little.
I tasted
No,
that.
it's not rolling.
I don't know how big.
What is this? Perception. Oh, 19.
19 is not bad. It doesn't appear to have any sort of danger of it collapsing. It's dug pretty well. You do see on the horizon, on the other kind of base side of where the army is set up, another similar little bump. Like there's another opening similar to this, quite a ways along the backside of the army. Nathaniel, as you are pushing through, it begins to widen and widen to the point where you can eventually get to your knees and crawl, and then eventually get back up onto your feet. And as you do, you begin to see that same glowing light as it begins to curve around, and you see the thinnest little filaments of this glowing root-like growth on two different sides of the hill, just kind of standing there.
I reach out to Deli if he's within 60 feet of me still with telepathy.
I see as you kind of stop for a minute and kind of take this in, it gives you a little bit of time to catch up, and you do. Colin Provolone is a lot closer to you. You're right up against him at this point.
Slow down. I just reach out to Deli and I go,
Alessandro, it's here. It's here. We don't have to be afraid. It's come back for us.
I'm gonna go in the hole. I'm gonna get in the hole.
Can I insight check him? Because I don't think we've talked about what happened in there, and I never thought to ask.
Make an insight check, make a persuasion or deception, your choice. Based on your truthfulness or not.
Motherfucker. 14.
25. but I don't think I would deceive you. And I think there is just it was a feeling unlike anything I've ever had before. And the chance to understand it more would be something I would be intrigued. So I don't think you see any sort of like secrets. It's more just like, it's there. I actually do want to know more.
I think then it's just a matter of Karna seeing like your demeanor be very invested, and she immediately softens. Okay, I will follow.
I'll follow them.
All right.
Somebody bring the radishes close.
Oh, I've still got them in my hands.
Wild.
Pass them up.
You begin to stumble down, seeing the threads of this growing root-like filament across the walls, winding between the rock and stone, and chunks of weird, old, stale bread and crust. You turn around this large bend that continues to go further down and down like a spiral, and then back towards the direction of the city. And as it opens up, you see it breaks off into another tunnel that leads off in the direction of where you noticed. And you can see 3 of these creatures. They're in the process of digging away and gathering the stone. And they look up and see you.
Subtle spell, or not even subtle spell, just detect thoughts and just open arms, not a threat.
Make a persuasion check along with that.
22.
The 3 of them holding the stones, they kind of like drop to the earth, and you can see them. They're these like elongated, weird, asymmetrical beings of just clustered, withered fungus and mold. These kind of long, protracted fingers at different lengths. These eyes that are offset, no visible mouth, these odd amber eyes peeking through, with bright bursts of color that are varying and change from all 3 of them. They seem to vary in the types of fungus that make up their form and body. They wear these masks constructed of broken bone or scavenged corpses, and they all, look like they're wearing some semblance of armor that is varying patchwork chunks pulled from other battlefields and other armies. And there are weapons at their side, and they all just kind of look at you as you detect thoughts. The surface thoughts you get don't make sense. There isn't communication that you can understand here beyond just flashes of emotion that remind you of anxiety, worry, flee, oh no.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I'm not here to hurt you. The cave told me I wasn't ready. I'm ready now. I am ready.
The rest of you are starting to step up from behind as you see the buck naked Rathaniel standing like Mr. Burns in the middle of
100%.
Putting his clothes on, like put these on.
It's all right. I should be naked.
But you all also see these 3 fungal creatures that are all kind of standing in an odd standoff.
Tilly, do you remember?
It is them. It is them.
It is the same. I'm hearing their thoughts, but they can't think in words. They're thinking in feelings. They're afraid. Do not be afraid. I'm going to get on my knees. Do not be afraid.
I am going to attempt to use telepathy with them, but instead of using words, I'm going to remember the feeling of holding my child and just the warmth of when I'm holding him and cradling him in safety.
Okay, make a persuasion check.
Fuck me. 14.
14, okay. 2 of them kind of take a step back, while the smallest of them, that's not the closest to you, kind of in the middle of them, begins to approach. And you see as it comes, its eyes are sunken lower in its body, and the top of its head crests into these caps that have multicolors across them. Bits of like gray and white fuzz mold kind of forms across the upper part of the torso as it slowly kind of like waddles over to you. It gets within about 5 feet of you, and where its mouth is kind of like, these spores emerge and engulf your face and body.
Yes.
You inhale them into you.
No.
And there's like a faint tinge of burning in your lungs as they find purchase on the inside of your body. And there's this rush, this odd excitement, this adrenaline burst that goes through your system, and these weird alien thoughts that you're kind of glancing off of, these bursts of emotion from this one before you begins to.
You shouldn't be here.
Why would you say that? I am ready.
We are forbidden to be seen.
I understand. Last time, the cave in Fructera, I had audience with the heart of the world, and I panicked and I shared something I shouldn't have shared. It was a weakness that I wasn't ready, but now you can tell the heart of the world that I am ready. And if you will give me this power, then I can destroy the enemies. And whatever you have, yours and mine. You can do this.
You get the sense of being overwhelmed. And this creature, it doesn't meet you on an intellectual level, as it's more of just based in reactionary emotion, and not a lack of intelligence, but just a simple view of the world. A lot of that just kind of glances off of it, as it kind of head cocks to you, and you hear once more kind of through your mind,
Heart of the world, you touched the mycelium.
and it kind of glances over towards the pulsing light that's kind of moving through those veins that run through.
The heart of the mycelium is the heart of Subboros, the heart of us.
I am going to telepathically reach out to Deli again and say, I need to know what to say. I can feel them withdrawing from me. This is my last chance. My body is dying.
Pulling from my memories of the moment with the what we call the heart of the world, or the heart of the mycelium, I remember being taken with this feeling of warmth, but that gave me a sense of fear. What were the images associated with that? Or I'm trying to recollect.
You're trying to recollect it. It's like stepping into a welcoming presence, and the presence says, you can't be here. So it wasn't a please come. It was just a sense of belonging and connection that said, not now. It wasn't denying you or shunting you away. It was just not ready.
Nathaniel, I think they're trying to protect us from something that we should not have.
We should have it. And I say that with my voice. We should have it.
As this happens, like all of these creatures pull back, and the one that's talking to you says,
Subboros must be protected. They promised.
Say it again. What must be protected?
Subboros.
as it kind of steps back a bit, and you hear in the middle of the tunnel here a voice go, "How's it going? Is it done yet?" And you see emerging from around the tunnel a figure, maskless, but wearing a familiar set of brown, tan, and gray robes. The robes of the FDA, of the Sanctus Putris, emerging around the edge, straight into your merry band, before going, "Oh, fuck."
Shatter.
And that's where we'll pick up on the next episode.
Incredible.
What the purpose of the heart of the world, your beloved mycelium, could be, I cannot know. There is wisdom here beneath the earth that I have been too much a fool to see.
I'm sorry, is there an issue going on? Oh, shit indeed.
I'm going to take your face. I'm going to wear your clothes. I'm going to be you.
Oh, God.
We're back together again.
What the hell?
I don't think we've met, but Rafael, you can still talk to dead people, right?
Sir Provolone, may the bulb shine on what you must now do.
You're going to die down here. Yeah. C'est moi.
Wow, so she's in his cult. Cool, that's awesome.
She's proved herself in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so have I.
Your Eminence, it's time for someone to take care of you. For once, trust me.
People have been telling me I am not ready, not included, not to be given mask or robe. You had a chance to have me as a friend, and now I'll pull your roots out of this wicked earth myself.
No words for the bulb down here.